What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today I want to give you a long overdue update on this guy right here. This is my Insane Diesel's oil filter bypass kit. This thing has been on the truck since last February, and I told myself, and I told you guys, if you remember when I put it on, that I'd give you 3-month, 6-month oil analysis and like an update. Well, it's been 10 months. I want to be completely clear, I have done a couple oil samples on this thing, but it wasn't fair. Like to do an initial overview or review or update or whatever you want to call it at that first 3-month mark is unfair because the oil was still so clean and worked so well. But before we get on the sample, I want to kind of show you guys what the kit is and give you guys an overview of what to expect. So to call this thing a bypass isn't really fair. It's kind of misleading because you're not really bypassing anything, it's additional. So as you can see down here, hopefully you guys can see that, the factory oil filter housing, oil filter, everything's still there. So what you do, this motor being a Cummins, they all are going to do the same thing in different ways. This motor here, you tap into the oil filter housing, it's the easiest place to go. They give you all the fittings, all the lines, everything to do it. So the oil still goes through the factory filtration system, the filtration loop. Everything is still there. This is supplemental. This takes a percentage of the oil that would go back in the motor, runs it through the hose up here into this guy. This is your filter housing. Now, in here is your filter. And let me grab a wrench to get that out for you real quick. So to get into this filter housing, super easy. Just break that Allen loose. Spin this bolt out. Oh, it hasn't been off in a minute. So you spin that bolt out, pop the lid, there's your filter right there. This filter is super goofy. So this is your filter. This filter right here, your factory filters, if I remember right, your factory filters maybe 15, maybe 20 micron. So that filter is really a unique thing. It's not uncommon. This has been in the over-the-road heavy equipment world for a very, very long time. And this filter that's in here that I just showed you filters down to that 1 micron level. It's that added protection that you don't get from the factory setup. And I hate to say it. Even though there's nothing wrong with a factory oil system, this is just going to make sure you're protected that much more. So from there, where the oil goes, it's going to go through this filter, down the bottom, and then this hose right here comes up the top, and they did it in a way where it goes to their proprietary oil filter cap. So this filter, this oil is just going to pump right back in to the top of the valve cover. So it's a little noisy now, you probably won't hear what I'm saying. But this oil is just being pumped right back in to the top of the valve cover. So to add a system like this, they've made it super simple. Anybody can do it. There's no drilling, no tapping, no taking anything apart that you don't need to take apart. It's super quick, user friendly, you get all the benefits. So now the part I'm excited about. So the part I'm excited about now is to get into the analysis with you. Hopefully this isn't too boring, but this is the analysis. Quick little disclaimer, this truck, before I show you the numbers, this truck has 298,000 miles on it. This motor has never been cracked open. It's been turned up. This thing has run about, let's see, I bought it at 170,000 miles. By the time I hit 200,000 miles, I had the tuning figured out. I had everything figured out. This truck is made a reliable, and I have dyno sheets to prove it, not just talking out of my butt here. It's made a reliable 525 to the back tires through 37s. These 14 wide wheels, all the stuff that robs power. It has been turned up and quite honestly driven hard. It's got little to no blow by. This thing is, it's healthy, okay? It's a healthy motor, but still 300,000 mile motor. And this is what we got. So when you go through this analysis, this form, you're gonna see a lot of different things. Hopefully everything's in focus, and hopefully you can see everything. But this is your details on your date, your mileage, all that fun stuff. They give you sample IDs and whatnot. That's for their records. But there's that. So coming down here, this is your warning limits. Obviously it's all green, we're all happy. Now this right here, this first segment, wear materials. This is going to tell you if you have any chrome, nickel, anything in the oil that doesn't need to be there. You got like lead, copper, tin, silver, any of the metals that are in the motor, as far as bearing materials, anything wear related. And these are your limits. So iron, it's an iron block motor. There's a lot of iron in a diesel engine. They allow you 100 parts per million. We have 7. I'm not going to go down through everything. You guys can look at this as we go, maybe pause it if you want to, but there is absolutely nothing crazy going on in this motor as far as wear. Contaminants, same thing. Silicon and sodium, those you're allowed. There's what we got. Almost nothing. This one's kind of fun when we get into additives. So additives, that's a fun one because I am running their oil. So when I installed this setup from Insane Diesels, I actually ran their oil as well. And their oil is this. This is called Lorenzo's oil. This is a synthetic 1540 with a tungsten disulfide additive package. So the oil itself is pretty special as well. It's got that tungsten disulfide package, which is kind of an odd duct. So as it wears in, the tungsten breaks down and actually polishes and does more than it would when it was new. So when we get into the additive section on this, it's really quite clever. This oil over here, to be fair, this oil on the far right is AMSOIL. That's what I had in the truck when I did this system. And then this is these other 2 samples. These are the Lorenzo's oil samples. The calcium is down compared to the AMSOIL, but look at the magnesium numbers. The magnesium is huge compared to what AMSOIL does. Phosphorus, twice that. Zinc is huge in a diesel engine. We have twice as much zinc, and it's not losing zinc. There is a 3,000 mile difference between this sample and this sample. That zinc is going nowhere. Boron, we almost have none in the AMSOIL, and we have a ton in the Lorenzo's. As far as other things, before I get into this, as far as other things go, we have these numbers down here. This is your stuff like glycol and soot. Soot, we all know what soot is. Should. Water's huge. So the water's one thing that I wanted to really make known, because you're allowed, this is your allowance, 5,000 parts per million of water. This system, so this system is really efficient with taking water out of your oil. Even though you look at these samples and you see this number all above the board, and this sample's got 1,000, right? Still nothing. This sample, I will tell you this AMSOIL sample was taken in February, after doing a lot of big trips on the truck. I had some big changes in my life where the truck didn't get driven as much as it used to. So this oil sample has a lot of big trips on it. And when you take a big trip, you put heat in the motor, heat gets rid of the water, right? Water evaporates. We still had 1,000 parts per million of water. And coming over to this sample here, we have 1,000 parts per million of water. This is where I was talking about with it being unfair that I did this one. And I wasn't going to give you a video just after the sample. This was in June. The truck had not been driven very much at all between February and June. It sat in the driveway a lot. I live on the coast. It's wet. It always rains here. We're on the beach. You got moisture in the air. You're gonna get water and things. So to see this jump of 1,000 parts per million in water, it really wasn't fair because condensation is a killer. This one over here at 624 is a huge jump. Even though it might not seem like a big jump between the 960 and 624, at these levels, we're talking about like a 3-gallon system, which is this truck. You're talking like maybe a drop of water through the whole system. That's huge. This filter is really good at getting rid of the water in the system. What else do I need to show you before we get up there? Everything else is pretty good. Like I said, everything's happy. Silt levels, I'm gonna say, even though the truck's got so many miles, it's healthy. Now this right here. So the last part of this is the ISO. And the ISO is incredibly impressive. Because on a diesel engine, if you were to call an oil analysis company of any kind, even these guys, this Gearhead Oil Analysis, or your AMSOIL, or whoever does your oil samples, and you told them, I want an ISO test done on my diesel engine oil, chances are they're going to laugh at you, because this test is unheard of on used diesel oil. The particles, the way they do it is there's a laser that goes through the oil. It monitors these particulate sizes and amounts, and on a diesel, the oil is too contaminated to do it. That's why this AMSOIL test has nothing on it. There's nothing on that AMSOIL because they cannot do that test on the oil. So we're looking at parts per million of said samples or particulates. We almost have no large particulates. Medium-sized particulates, pretty low. Small particulates, sure, might look like a lot, but really that's parts per million in a 3-gallon system. That's hardly nothing at all. Our non-metallics, which is kind of weird. We almost cut that number in half just by running the truck. Fatigue, we've got a little fatigue right there. Nothing. Sliding and cutting, that's going to be like bearing materials and whatnot. Still, about nothing. So even though this has been a long overdue thing, you guys have deserved what I told you in the beginning. 3 to 6 months. I'll give you samples and I'll give you the paperwork just to be clear on how the system works. Being 10 months in, I'm a little late to the party, but at the same time, I don't think I am, because I think a test like this is justifiable. These systems have been used, like I said, in the over-the-road market, big trucks, heavy equipment, forever. This is super common in big stuff, and they're just starting to get it, trying to get it into little stuff. Coming up soon, I will say, being 10 months in, I want to service the system every year, every 12 months, which means I want to change this filter, and I want to change the truck filter, the spin-on filter on the truck. And that's it. That's all. Because this sample is so fresh, I don't need to send in another sample at that time. But I would. Normally, when you change your filters, send a sample. I really hope you guys found this useful. If you guys have any questions, I would feel, if you guys have any questions, feel free. Comment down below, let me know, email me, do whatever you want, or get a hold of these guys. I'll have their links down below in the description. Feel free to get a hold of them. I know they'd be really happy to hear from you. These kits are great. I will say they're not a cheap adventure for what they are. So if you have any questions, get a hold of me, get a hold of them. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. These systems are great, and I will do my best to keep you guys updated on how this works. A big part of it is how tight the motor is. Another huge part of it is keeping the oil clean. I know it looks dark. It looks black, you know. Diesel oil is gonna get black, but the brass tacks of it, when you look at the sample and you put it right next to old oil or even new oil, this system is keeping it as clean, if not cleaner, than brand new oil. So I hope you guys found this useful at all, and I hope you guys aren't mad that it took me 10 months to get you a kind of a recap or update on this, but the proof is right there. You know, these samples are coming back super clean. I ran a couple samples like you guys saw before making this video, because I wanted to give it a chance, give it a fair chance. And seeing as the oil is still brand new after a year, I think this is going to go on for a long time. So hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll try to do it again. If you guys have any questions, you guys want to see anything about this or see anything else, let me know. I'd be happy to do it for you. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.